a selection from Hansel and Gretel, wonderful music of Humperdinck, performed there by the Royal Philharmonic, led by Rudolph Kemp. You're listening to Winnipeg's Classic 107. My name is Simon Rusnak. Manitoba Underground Opera writes the next chapter in their weird and wonderful history as they present a literary-inspired season filled with 3 operatic works set to jump off the page. To hear more, MUO General Manager Brendan McKeen has joined me in the Classic 107 studio. Wonderful to have you back, Brendan.
That was an incredible intro, and I'm going to steal a lot of that language, just so you're prepared.
No, you are more than welcome to, and it's wonderful to have you back here. MUO and the season always seems like a sign of summer to me. Does it feel the same way for you?
It does. I have to say, in winter, I feel totally calm, but as soon as I see the snow melt, there's that little bit of anxiety that goes, okay, things need to happen right now.
And here we are on the cusp of the season launching next week. And I'm so curious because you always do such a wonderful job presenting seasons that have this through line. There's a narrative, but at the same time, each work can very much stand on its own. And I want to hear more about how this season, which you've dubbed Unwritten, has come together. Because I sort of have these visions of you, Brendan, sitting there, staring at the blank page before you, opening up the dirty window as the sun illuminates the words that you cannot find reaching. I'm basically just quoting a Natasha Bedingfield song, but I'm more curious
Spectacular.
About your version of Unwritten. Tell us more about MUO's season.
Yeah, so this one, I have to admit, is a bit of a selfish season because these 3 shows are bucket list pieces for me. We need to make sure we are doing them, and finally we feel we're in a position to actually make them happen. So like our season opener, Rocking Horse Winter, I fell in love in 2020 during the pandemic. They had it's a Tapestry Opera, Scottish Opera Commission, premiered in 2016, and they were supposed to do a remount in 2020. Of course, we know things happened, and they released a digital album instead. So I got to just dive in and listen to it, and I think I listened to it at least 14 times in the first day.
Wow.
And just knew that was the sort of show that we needed to present.
This is an operatic telling of a D.H. Lawrence short story, right?
Indeed, by the same name, Rocking Horse Winter. So that was that's kind of Unwritten kind of started with this piece, knowing it was based on a short story. And then, we dive into the artistic narrative. Opera is theater and music and singing and text and all of those things all put together. And we just kind of felt all of them needed to be treated equally. We've heard over the years, it's about the singing only. No one cares what they do on stage. And after you see a really boring opera, you go, okay, no, they have to do something on stage, please. It's beautiful, but I could sit at home and listen to a CD and it would be great. So we just kind of went, okay, let's take stories. Let's start with story. Let's find really good story and then play with it, mess it up, pull it apart, and that's how we landed on Tales of Hoffmann was second to go with that because, it's a bunch of old horror stories, and Elizabethan horror stories, and we went, oh, that's interesting. Opera and horror don't usually go together, so let's find out what that is. And then from there it went, oh, okay, let's make sure that we have something incredibly full of joy. And Hansel and Gretel just immediately popped out.
It's just such a wonderful work.
It's so beautiful. And so then that's how it became Unwritten. We have these stories originally not intended to be operas, and then some composer walked in and said, okay, let's put this to music and let's figure it out. And then we go, okay, now that it's set to music, let's take it further and take it even further to see where we can go with things. It's our version of a Hollywood sequel, right?
Yeah. I mean, again, Manitoba Underground Opera does such a brilliant job, in my opinion, of putting their own spin on things, right? No matter who that director is that you bring in to work with, there is something that is uniquely underground about these productions. And I think regular attendees and those who are attending for the first time will find something for themselves in there because each production is so different that way, right?
Exactly. I think one of the things that really helps us is venues. We're not in traditional theaters. We're always moving around and finding new ways. So next week we're in the Millennium Center.
Yeah, such an inspiring space, but also such an acoustically active one. It's a great area.
That building with the giant dome up top, the 2 stories, one of the parts of that show, because I don't want to give away too many spoilers, is there's 4 characters who play the house. And so I looked and I went, oh, what if we have some of them sing from the 2nd floor? And then they're in the house singing over top of everyone. And then, of course, they can't stay there the whole time because that's a little too static. But that kind of how it, and the piece is about, financial obsession and gambling and, well, Millennium Center used to be a bank.
Yeah.
It was built as a bank. So there's that tie-in of, money has always been flowing in and out of that space. And you're never going to build a set that looks like that.
No, it is so
just
grand.
Impossible. All the marble, just the incredible detailing and all the wood that's in there. So that I would say is what it is. Yeah.
Rocking Horse Winter opens 22nd, running again on the 23rd. Tickets are already available on sale now. We're going to get to that in just a little bit. And from that wonderful space at the Millennium Center, you move to another brilliant space, the Winnipeg Art Gallery, and you're going to be incorporating some pretty cool art into this production, working with James.
Yeah. So last year, our Castor and Pollux, we had those magnificent projections on the entire facade of the St. Boniface Cathedral. And it was just an absolute treat to work with him. I recommend him to everybody listening. This man is spectacular and kind and lovely. And so it kind of went, okay, how can MUO do Hansel and Gretel? Because there's houses, woods, all sorts of things that have to kind of happen for it. And, we didn't think it would be appropriate to wander through a forest together to actually do this. Not to mention my stage managers would walk off if they're like, just enjoy, go for it. But so we went for kind of the polar opposite. We wanted something that was very, just blank. And then we're going to put all the color on it. There'll be projections covering so many of the walls, watching Hansel and Gretel just kind of, roam through. And it's not announced yet, but the Hansel and Gretel are wonderful, wonderful singers that So I can't wait for when that comes out at our next chat that we have.
I can't wait either. And it's going to be directed by Gillian Willems. Again, that's coming up end of July.
End of August.
Yes, excuse me.
Our regular time.
And then we've also got a little bit of Tales of Hoffman going on too.
Tales of Hoffman, like the spectacle of it, the grandiose, it's always too much. Every show you see, it's too much. So we said, how on earth could we be too much? Well, I guess we're going to go back to Club 200 again.
Excellent.
So there will be drag performers in the chorus and around. It's, the whole actual opera is dude walks into a bar and laments all of his broken relationships. So dude is going to walk into Club 200 and lament his broken relationships with drag queens swirling around and incredible, incredible singing in that piece. The whole thing's going to be, fun fact about the whole season, it's all in English.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up.
Yeah.
Can you talk about that? I mean, so one of the things that often we'll hear about as a classical music radio station, when you put opera to air, people, there is that sort of barrier to entry just because of the fact that we don't necessarily speak French or German or Italian, these works that are being presented on stage, and it's sort of tough to follow. All 3 of these works being sung in English, that's almost an accessibility thing too, right?
Right. Well, it was, and I would love to say it was incredible programming and planning and just brilliant. But it was Rocking Horse is already in English.
Yeah.
And then we looked at Tales of Hoffman, and last time we were in Club 200, we did Marriage of Figaro in English. And I said, you know what, let's keep it that way because it's just a really, in the bar, there's no place to put subtitles up that everyone can see super readily. And it's meant to be fun and relaxed. And so I said, great, let's do it in English. And then I looked at Hansel and Gretel and went, oh, it's already in English too. And there's a German and an English. And I went, great.
What a serendipitous moment that is.
We're just going to keep them all in English because that's kind of what I think it's going to be best for the audience to really enjoy it.
Yeah. Hey, it sounds like great programming to me, so kudos on that. Now, while I've got you here in studio, Brendan, I do want to bring up one other thing because MUO hits the town with the neighborhood opera tour that's also going on. Can we talk briefly about that?
I need to hire you to just do a lot of copywriting for me. You're talking about our Opera Around Town initiative.
Yeah, look at that.
Excellent play on words. No, we like to work with different organizations and present things. So we'll be at Doors Open on Saturday and Sunday, May 25 and 26. And that's just free programming alongside things. it's Heritage Winnipeg runs it, and we're working with Heritage Winnipeg with the Millennium Center. So we go way back with that one. And then other than that, we have our Divas and Dragoons series, which is Thank You Canada Council for the Arts and City of Song, which is just live opera singers with drag performers lip syncing to them. It's fun, it's wild, it's in a bar, so it is 18 plus, not necessarily for content, but because it's a bar. And it's just like the opera that I want to see.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I think it's absolutely lovely to see the gowns, the big pianos, the everything that comes with that. But I also want to just go have a beer and just be like, that was still amazing singing. And it was spectacular.
Well, so excited for this MUO season. Season passes have officially sold out, but there are individual tickets available, and I can't encourage people enough to head to ManitobaUndergroundOpera.com. That's all one word, to get those tickets sooner rather than later, because, I mean, you're coming off sellouts last season.
The whole season sold out last year.
Exactly. So it's like you don't want to wait on this one to dive underground with MUO. You do have a pair of season passes, though, that we're going to be giving away, right?
I do. I just think you're swell. And I remember the time we had at school back in the day, which was 3 years ago,
Yeah,
as
I
long
think
as
so.
no
Sounds
one's
about
checking.
right.
Yeah. So I'd love to absolutely extend 2 passes. So that includes all 3 shows for one person each.
Fantastic, Brendan. Appreciate it so much. Appreciate what you're doing and MUO is doing. We'll get those up through the Classic 107 ticket window, so keep an eye on that. Unwritten runs from May through August. 3 shows presented by Manitoba Underground Opera. And if you can't wait, ManitobaUndergroundOpera.com, the place to go. Wonderful as always seeing you.
An absolute pleasure.
Take care.